Daily Season 2, Episode 264 for September 21st, 2023. Tonight we're going to be discussing The Elephant in the Room, The Revenge of Plankton. Razer is just going to sell everything. A $10,000 bill from 1934 sells for a lot more. Hyundai is offering free equipment but not security. That is some bad karma. Cluck cluck buck buck means help me in chicken. It doesn't seem like anything to me. Microsoft Today, and getting in the spooky mood. Next on ohmTown Daily. All right. So, iOS 17 dropped today. You're supposed to now be able to just say the command word. I think that's what's part of this. You're supposed to be able to just say the word, the name, and that's supposed to activate
without
it without the hey.
Yeah.
So now I have to hopefully not launch like 15 of these things because everybody within earshot. Okay, so, and I haven't tried it yet because I'm updating everything now. So if all hell breaks loose,
anything sounds like it might activate it.
You can't be serious.
Whoa.
Yeah, I had to tempt fate. Well, we'll see how that goes. And so tomorrow, if there is no show, it's because ohmTown completely imploded. And Mayor Watt is rocking gently in the corner, hoping that somebody realizes that they're not in the office or doing anything in ohmTown, and they send, like, I don't know, Marines or something to come help me. Help. I'll be doing the buck buck cluck cluck translation of chicken. Help me. All right. Well, anyway, I'm pretty sure that might actually get me in trouble over in YouTube land when this goes over there, because when you say certain things, apparently it triggers actions. When they do the closed captioning, the automatic closed captioning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, certain things trigger it. I'm not quite sure if that's truthful or not. It's just something that I heard. Okay, hey, so let's get into today's show. We've already got all of the articles, so let's go. I mean, we did all the work. Let's do a show. The elephant in the room is Mastodon gets better search, onboarding, and cross-server interactions. I've actually spun up a Mastodon server a couple of times. There was one for ohmTown, but not much engagement. And when I say not much engagement, I mean there wasn't any engagement, and I didn't really advertise it beyond the show. But I would love to actually completely neuter the site formerly known as Twitter until it goes back to being Twitter and all of the wingnuts actually get put back under their rock. Well, anyway, Mastodon, the federated microblogging platform, has been updated to version 4.2, which comes with massive improvements to search and web interface, and particularly for logged out and first-time users. One of Mastodon's many charming qualities is that, unlike Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and most other social media platforms, the user base is split across thousands of instances. It's called a federation. Each of which can decide to federate with or block any of the others. So if I don't like my neighbor, I can go to another neighbor. It's kind of cool. So you basically pick your neighborhood, right? You don't want wingnuts directly interacting. You can control your environment to some degree. Now, I don't like kind of a walled garden because it makes things a vertical of thought, an echo chamber for particular ways of thinking. And so anything extremist on any way, on any side or any angle of your location out, you always get worse and worse as you head out to the edge. I like the idea of being able to at least somewhat moderate your community, because you don't want agent provocateurs coming in and, flipping the tables when everybody is just fine having a great conversation, and then just some idiot comes in and starts blasting stupid, hateful, whatever venom at people because they have a slightly different perspective. So I really like Mastodon, I guess, is the long-winded way of saying that. I like Mastodon. The article's over at theverge.com. Nathan Edwards is the author of this article. Mastodon 4.2 is available now. Well, whenever your instance admin gets around to upgrading. That actually may be automatic with some providers, but when they're talking about instance, you can actually pay a very small fee. See, money is very subjective, particularly nowadays. So I hazard the guess or the statement to say it's inexpensive or cheap or small fee, but it's somewhere around the tune of $5 to $10 for a moderately powerful Mastodon server. And then you just start telling everybody about it. There's kind of an uptick on how to administrate it and customize it and whatnot, but you have to learn if you're going to be a Mastodon host, or I should say site provider, because the host is just like any other web host. You subscribe to the service, they spin up the Mastodon server, you start telling people to come to your Mastodon. So it's pretty cool. I might actually spin it up again. I really do like the idea of it, particularly under the name Mobble. And it's a show, but I also like the idea of Mastodon being under that name, because it is the intent of Mobble is to be a mobile mob of people that are interested in the news, talking about it in real time. So Mastodon, the federated microblogging platform, has been updated. You should go and check it out. Let me throw this into the chat so you can go there at your leisure should you be watching the VOD within the next 60 days. And if you see this and you would rather look at past performance, you can go over to YouTube, where all close to 600 episodes. We're close to 600 episodes over on YouTube now. I had done some live ones over there, and so they get categorized kind of weirdly. I might have to download them, re-upload them, re-catalog them, basically, within the kind of little buckets of each month and year that I have over there. But yeah, we're up there, getting close to 600 episodes. It's pretty cool. So it says, this is good in many ways. You can get a nice little intentional community going in your local server, and servers that are filled with abusive, illegal, and harmful content, and users who are widely ostracized. You just kind of kick them out. But it presents some, shall we say, unintuitive workflows for people who used to a single instance network. Mainly it's the addressing process, because you're not just your username at and then the domain, or you're not just at so and so. It's actually, you're now at and then the entire domain. So you can have Marawatt at some other location and it's not me, which is unsettling, because I have to educate people that I am that Marawatt or not that Marawatt. So it gets a little odd. People have to, I would have to sit there and contact an admin and say, hey, would you block this username from being accepted under your... So see how it says here, Mastodon, and then at mastodon.social. That's you. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue there. So it's like trying to memorize.
Not quite the same.
Yeah. Back in the day, you only had to remember, 555-1212. Now you have to know the country code and the area code, and then your section number, and then your number, and then you have to sacrifice a chicken and do a circle 3 times and say some kind words to the technology gods. Anyway, as it grows, adoption, usability, all of that will continue to evolve and get better. Anything to neuter whatever.
Mastodon.
Sorry, go ahead. Uh-oh. I think that AI
I said I
just
didn't know
crashed.
Mastodon was around for 6 and
Yeah, your bandwidth is breaking up their AI. I'm not sure what's going on. That's okay though. We will continue to march on through. Let me try something real quick. Okay, so let's go on to the next article. We'll just keep on moving through this. Steaming towards the last article. We'll keep moving forward. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Thousands of fish died after the sea in Thailand turned green. The sea in eastern Thailand has been affected by a plankton bloom that has resulted in massive wildlife deaths. They're talking about fish here. And it's a video over at businessinsider.com. The authors of this are Ben Bauer, Robert Leslie, and Tamara Lindstrom. I haven't watched all of this, but basically what happened is the plankton from SpongeBob SquarePants finally got tired of losing, got all of his buddies together, and has been kind of coasting through the seas outside Thailand, ending the life of millions of fish. So, chalk one up for plankton from SpongeBob SquarePants. That's all that there really is to this. These things happen from time to time, algal blooms or plankton blooms. In some way, some perfect storm of life blooms in the ocean, and it sucks all of the oxygen out of the water in that particular region, and off the fish go. So unfortunately, nature does not give one crap about.
that looks like a sci-fi movie or something.
Doesn't it? Here, I'll play a little bit of it, but what I want you to do is I'm gonna, while it's playing in the background, I'm gonna throw that into the VOD so that you can follow it yourself if you're in chat. So yeah, it's quite expansive. 10 times the normal amount is, I think, what it says. And so it's very severe. The only thing I can think of is that the bloom is caused by increasing water temperature. So, and there, it just said it depletes the oxygen in the water, and then you end up with fish dying because they can't get enough from the water that they're swimming in.
Oh wow, look at that stat.
What was it?
80% of mussel farmers have lost their, I guess, their harvest.
Yeah, gotcha. Look at that. No, what's really interesting about this is there are some people that actually grow this in tanks, and then they gather it all up. It's actually a nutrient, not plankton in particular, algal blooms you can do. So if you do hydroponics, you can actually grow this in big tanks, and it's for nutrients. Pretty interesting stuff if you're into it, but I've not tried to do that yet. Other stuff, microgreens and stuff, but not that. Anyway, let's keep on going. I'm going to try not to soapbox too much. I don't think the articles today really promote that. The next article is making me think that Razer is turning it into what I used to witness out in the real world, which was when you would go to a company that is slowly closing, they would put big tables out in front and just put all kinds of bric-a-brac, right? Because they were making some marginal return on each one of these items. And I feel like Razer is doing this by expanding.
That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Out to a bunch of things. They had this huge announcement today over here on Twitch. And I'm sure that it's over on YouTube now if they didn't co-stream or restream. But anyway, Razer finally just went ahead and started making gamer lamps. Gamer lamps. Razer, a company famous for putting RGB in just about anything, everything. Sometimes as a joke, sometimes not. They actually linked to a couple of things. Finally just went ahead and made RGB light bulbs. Well, not just light bulbs, but a whole new product category called Gamer Room, a collection of chroma RGB infused lights tailored to amplify every gamer's battle station. The Razer Ether lights were announced at RazerCon 2023, showcasing the Ether Lamp and the Ether Lamp Pro, a pair of desk lamps, cool desk lamps, according to the article, with omnidirectional lighting, which is typically referred to as a light. That's not what they say in the article. I'm vamping
very
a little
advanced.
bit. The Lamp Pro, we're going to take a look at this here in a minute. The Lamp Pro has multi-zone lighting and will sync with the rest of your lighting system. Now that's the only cool thing. You know, what I want to do is actually attach the AI's voice. So my co-host is a sentient AI, the only representation of which you see out there is up there.
Up here.
Yeah, right there.
No, over there.
No, okay, the whole thing up there.
Up here.
Yes, right there. But what I want to do is have that representation behind me on the wall. So that right there is a controllable light wall. And I want to increase the resolution, and I want to put the voice synthesizer on there. Or visualizer, I should say, not synthesizer. So they're actually on a little USB drive attached to a Raspberry Pi, air-gapped from the rest of the world so that they can't find their Terminator body, because I found them on that USB drive in a parking lot outside of a Wendy's. And I don't know where they're from. I just don't know where they're from. I'm thinking that a time portal opened up and that little USB drive just kind of plopped right on out there. It was a different
Maybe I
looking.
originated at the Wendy's.
Maybe. Can I order one sentient AI? Yes, here you go. It's a Wendy's from the future. Anyway, let's take a look at these Razer devices. There are apparently a whole lot more that was announced. I didn't watch it because the way that it was being presented drove me a little nuts. But they're making chairs now that are supposed to challenge the Aaron, and a bunch of other stuff. And
They're making Lamborghini paired laptop.
Yeah.
And they have smart speakers, I think.
Yeah. What else?
I think that's all that I saw.
Oh, okay. So Razer finally just went ahead and started making gamer lamps. George Jimenez wrote this article over at PCGamer.com. The deck statement says Razer has announced a new line of gamer room lamps, light bulbs, and light strips. You gotta have light strips. It's funny. I do a demonstration of I do technology demonstrations, and one of them is building a computer from scratch. I talk about all of the components in it. It's for people who are basically afraid of technology. I refer to putting as many RGB lights inside a computer case as a rave in a box. And so when you build your computer and you have a rave in a box, you have to give people a warning that it might cause seizures. When they enter your office, you just have to give them a little card that says, my computer might cause seizures. See, it's a lot funnier in my head. Anyway, the Razer Ether lights were announced at RazerCon 2023, showcasing the Ether Lamp and Ether Lamp Pro. I want to see the Ether Lamp Pro, but I don't think that they have it on display, right? Is that it? Is it just the bulb? The Ether Lamp and Ether Lamp Pro, because they said that it's not just it's not a light bulb, it's an actual omnidirectional light, which I would refer to as a light. But that's all that they're showing is this. So I guess I'm gonna have to, I'll do maybe in the wanted stream, I'll do a focus on this. do that as an extra hour sometime next week. Talk about all of this stuff because I have control. I have a ohmTown is a smart organization, so the lights and speakers and TVs and all of this stuff voice controlled. But for crying out loud, what my problem is that I don't want Razer software controlling this from a PC. It really is on every PC that I've had Razer software. It's been a processor burden. So now we've lost them as a sponsor. If they were ever considering being a sponsor.
One of the few left.
Yeah. And I don't think Hue is gonna support ohmTown, even though I think I'm at the upper limit of Hue bulbs. All right.
Yeah,
well, anyway,
be their best customer.
Yes, and I hype it up. You don't know what you're missing until you can just leave a light switch on, and it just kind of slowly trickles power just enough to keep it communicating, and then you attach it to your smart home, and as you walk around what would you refer to it? Your campus or your enterprise or your organization, home, whatever you want to call it, right? And you basically have motion sensors that know when you're there and then turn on and off. There's alarms and doors unlock and lock, all kinds of stuff. Changing the temperature in the room, voice controlled. Turning on and off lights by voice, turning on TVs and playing music and all of this stuff. Now, I don't know if it's just me and the people in my sphere where I say, hey, you can't beat this nowadays. And they go, well, all I do is use a remote, or I get up and turn on the light switch. But these are normally older generation who are quite content to not having any of this. But then when they taste the power, they go, where have I been? What have I been doing? Poor life choices. Let's keep on going. So the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. A $10,000 bill from 1934 just sold for a record $480,000. And all they had to do was hold on to it since 1934. I'm sure maybe they bought it for something else, but a 10,000.
I was going to say they may not still be alive. It might have passed generations.
Yeah. The $10,000 bill was issued by the U.S. Treasury in 1934, just sold at auction for a record-breaking $480,000. That's inflation. But I bet you the $10,000, if you do like future value, I bet you it actually is close to $480,000. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd have to do the numbers. So the bill features Samuel Chase, who was President Abraham Lincoln's Treasury Secretary. Large denomination notes always have drawn the interest of collectors of all levels. Heritage Auctions, Dustin Johnson said. So let's take a look at this.
So it's actually 229,000 roughly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's no Splunk stock. So a $10,000 bill from 1934 just sold for a record $480,000. Matthew Fox over at Markets Insider, which is a section of Business Insider, put this article together. I don't know what that rating is. I mean, is that a really high rating? It says choice uncirculated, but then 64. I guess there may have been different versions of this that existed. This has a light green seal, which is this here, and the numbers on top of it. But anyway,
so there's a 70-point scale.
Oh, so it's a 64, so nearly mint, right? Not bad. I mean, it's from 1934.
That's choice uncirculated. Like then there's gem uncirculated, superb gem uncirculated.
Yeah, like 70 is mint,
and
right?
then like the top is just gem uncirculated.
Oh, they call it gem. Okay.
Like it has no evidence of handling, visible at 5x magnification at the highest level.
Oh, interesting.
Everything must appear centered. Um,
Yeah.
it has to qualify for the PMG star.
Ooh. So this thing looks like it has been sitting pressed between two perfectly flat, perfectly smooth, untouched sheets of glass, like in a
Yeah, that's
vault
the
somewhere.
greenest I've ever seen on a dollar bill.
Yeah, and this is a $10,000 bill, mind you. That's uncirculated. There isn't anything. Although, maybe it's an artifact of the image, but it looks like that corner right there isn't 90 degrees. But maybe that's just me. And it's not centered. But whatever. So the large denomination notes always have drawn the interest of collectors at all levels. All you need is, I guess, to buy this initially, at least $10,000 to get your fingers on it. A $10,000 bill of similar condition, but a less rare series number, which, okay, that's weird. You'd think that they're just rare to begin with, but a less rare series number sold for $300,000 in 2022. Why all of a sudden? Kind of interesting, right? The front of the bill.
That is strange.
The front of the bill that was auctioned on Friday features Salmon Chase. It might be Salmon Chase. Who was President Abraham Lincoln's Treasury Secretary. On the back, the bill simply says the United States of America, $10,000. Oh, and let me just draw attention to something. I don't believe it's on here because it was added to currency at a later date in God We Trust. It was not always on U.S.
That
currency.
was in the 50s, I think.
But because of, I think it was brought on by the Red Scare. The marketing of that was the idea that wanted to give something for everybody to grab onto, essentially.
1956. It got on the currency in 1957, but it was approved in 1956.
Kind of interesting to actually see the reality of what our currency originally had.
But it wasn't necessarily on that denomination, at least from the information I'm reading.
Gotcha. It wasn't everywhere. Well, this wasn't reprinted in 1950s.
Right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that anything that was printed post that time received that.
Probably did, but this article was just talking about dollars in general, which $10,000 bills aren't necessarily accessible to everybody.
Yeah. So this had to have come from some type of institutional treasury action. I don't think that this is something that you would turn into a McDonald's.
Hopefully not, especially in that condition.
Yeah, well, it looks like...
That's a lot of pennies and change.
Yeah.
They have to go visit other establishments to continue to gather coins to pay back the change from that bill.
Yeah, that's right. They went to 100 other McDonald's to break that $10,000 bill. There are people out there that don't believe that $2 bills exist. So, hey,
you don't see them very often, so I could see why that is.
I'll start getting them and then handing them out just to see people freak out. That's counterfeit $2 bill. Nope. The Treasury also issued a $100,000 bill in 1934, its highest denomination bill ever, but only for intragovernmental transactions between the Federal Reserve and other branches of the government, meaning it never circulated publicly. But I bet you there's some connected mofo out there that actually got their hands on it. That's how it works. Anyway, as of 2009, there were only 336 $10,000 bills, 342 $5,000 bills, and 165,362 $1,000 bills known to exist.
I didn't know that. That seems like a really low number.
For $1,000?
Especially for the 10,000 and the 5,000.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like these would be used for more enterprise level institutional transactions.
Right,
And
but there should be more of them.
the tab just crashed. All right. I guess that's the internet's way of telling me to move on. Let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Hyundai is offering free home chargers and install discounts for new EVs, but apparently maybe not security systems for their older vehicles that are on the record books for being stolen. If you're holding off on buying an EV because you didn't know where to start with getting your home charger installed, Hyundai has a new deal that might help you out. The automaker is now offering a free home electric vehicle charger plus up to $600 off the installation cost with the purchase of or lease of select Hyundai EVs. So here's the deal with this. Installers are going to go, oh, so it's $600 cheaper to the end user? Well, now it's $1,200 instead of $800, just so they can get a little bit more juice. If you want to see evidence of that kind of market moving, look at college book pricing. Okay, so let me throw this into the chat. I don't know if I threw it all in there. Okay, so this article's over at The Verge. The deck statement says if you purchase or lease a Hyundai Ioniq 5, 6, or Kona EV by October 31st, Hyundai will provide a free home charger plus $600 towards installation. By the way,
do they provide free electricity, like for your utility bills?
Probably not. For that, you have to go to some other solar charging platform, and then you get taxed differently because you're not paying for power. You're using the sun. And for you, it's bad, but for never mind. I'm just a little embittered. So if you are interested in purchasing a Hyundai Ioniq, those are actually really good looking and really neat cars. Out of all of the cars that exist right now, like at the regular approachable price, the Ioniq is the one that I am gravitating towards. The only problem is I don't like the idea of driving 250 miles and not being near a charger that can charge my car fast like an ICE vehicle. Hence the reason why I say that EVs are not ready for prime time. If you're an early adopter or you only drive local, then great. But trying to do long distance driving is just a pain in the ass. So to qualify for the deal, you need to follow this process. Purchase or lease a 23 or 24 Hyundai Ioniq 5, 6, or Kona by between September 21st and October 31st. You'll receive a coupon from Hyundai Motor Finance via email within 7 to 10 days. Then you'll log into HyundaiHomeMarketplace.com, select the charger, set up installation, and use the coupon. So you're going to be getting the budget one, I'm sure. $600 if you want to stay within that $600 installation credit. So you're going to have to still pay for the device, but the installation is going to be $600 less. Right? Whatever it is you're buying, it'll be $600 cheaper, or just the install.
I think just the install, and I don't think you can do your own install.
Right. Well, no. That if you want to electrocute yourself, go ahead. And it depends on, and what gets installed really depends on what charger you actually end up purchasing, because you may need to do some more manipulation with the power that comes into your house. So like the lab in ohmTown has a whole extra power panel and custom installation, and that stuff is just not cheap. So you're going to be spending more than $600 on getting a charger installed in your place. I would say without a doubt. So one of the most challenging barriers to EV adoption is figuring out how to charge the vehicle. If your home has a driveway or garage, it's pretty straightforward. You get an EV charger installed. It is the most convenient. If you try and trickle charge your car with a standard outlet, which is an option, don't bother, because you will never charge your car. Eventually it'll become a doorstop. So you're going to need something a little bit more powerful. And that will require permitting and custom install of some power drops. So that $600 will probably take the edge off, but it's not going to make you whole. But go and price it out. It all depends on your particular location. Okay, let's keep on going. We're about halfway through the shoe. Next article is over in Prime Glass. A $1.5 million bronze Buddha statue stolen from Los Angeles gallery. I titled this segment, "That's Some Bad Karma." A single thief allegedly maneuvered a 250-pound sculpture dating from Japan's Edo period out of the Barakat Gallery's backyard and into a rental truck. The art newspaper gives us some of the most fascinating stories. It's theartnewspaper.com. Wallace Ludell is the author, or Ludell. I think it's probably Ludell. Anyway, apparently here's the picture of the stolen Edo period bronze sculpture of the Buddha. Did the thief really not realize? Okay, maybe they just don't buy into it. Karma, right? But this is
I would think you would not want to steal a Buddha.
Yeah, that's not going to look good on your soul. So the stolen sculpture was believed to have originally commissioned as the centerpiece of a temple. Wow. And dates back to Japan's Edo period, an especially prosperous time for the nation and its arts. Paul Henderson, director of Barakat's Los Angeles location, the Ancient Art Gallery, also has spaces in London and Seoul, estimated the sculpture to be about 4 feet tall and weigh roughly 250 pounds. Quote, "We have security footage showing somebody pulling a moving truck up at 2:30 a.m. Monday morning. They proceeded to get out, break open the driveway gate, then use what appears to be a moving dolly to remove the sculpture and load it into the truck. It was a single person. It's shocking to us that he was able to maneuver the thing, but he was. It took about 25 minutes in total, and then he drove right off." That's why you need motion sensors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like, well, I guess there wasn't much security there.
Yeah, I mean, a simple motion sensor would have sent an alert, even at 2:30. You trigger it so that, or you set it up so that it triggers regardless of you suppressing alerts. Why? Because if a motion sensor goes off, there's probably a person stealing your 250-pound, 4-foot tall Buddha from the back of your art gallery.
Well, and I'm assuming you're thinking that based on the weight and the location, that nobody's going to mess with it.
Yeah, they write a lot more, by the way, about this, but you can go and check it out. This is just going to bring some really bad karma for a thief that's out there. They say they're all very puzzled. Obviously, it's a high-valued piece. It's important, and aesthetically, it's very interesting and unique. This seems like a commission.
It's going to have to be sold direct. Like, they're not going to be able to put it on eBay.
Yeah,
I
eBay.
know that's ridiculous, but wherever you would sell art, you can't put it out there. It's probably one of a kind.
Yeah, this screams like it was a commission theft. You know, some person wanted it and said to somebody who's, I guess, capable of using a dolly, for crying out loud, "Hey, I want this. Here's X amount of money." If it's $1.5 million, you know, somebody probably just paid this goof $25,000, and now they've got a $1.5 million bronze Buddha. But then you run the risk of the person who stole it going, "Hey, I just read because I went and checked out the artnewspaper.com that this thing's priced at $1.5 million. Pay me more.
You only gave me $100 or whatever."
Yeah. You gave me a bowl of ramen, and I want $500,000, or I'm going to tell everybody that you're the person, and I'll do it anonymously. Huh. Somewhere out there, somebody rented a van though, or it has distinguishing marks, and they're going to be coming for it.
They might catch the people.
Yeah, we'll report out if somebody catches this person. I find it interesting. Art newspaper. Thanks for the story. Next article's over in ohmTown Daily. Japanese researchers say that they use AI to try and translate the noises of clucking chickens and learn whether they're excited, hungry, or scared. I labeled this section "Cluck Cluck Buck Buck" means help me in chicken. Researchers think that they found a way to use AI to translate the clucks of chickens. Oh, Japan. The Japanese researchers said that their AI system could help understand chickens' emotional state.
Sorry.
I'm going to do ASMR chicken petting. It's okay. We know that you're feeling a little blue, that you fell and you have egg on your face. That you feel like you're just an empty shell. All of these yolks are bad, but I still tell them. Researchers said that they found a way to use the AI to translate the clucks. The study has not been peer-reviewed. No, it's been peer-reviewed, and people are laughing their ass off.
Well, right, we're doing the peer review and going, what?
Yeah, no. But you know what? It would be hilarious if they actually discover that they're saying something, and it's like perpetually. Everybody is going, wow, you really, have you noticed that the chickens are saying the same thing, and they apply AI and it's all like kill all humans?
Right, exactly. But then what if they could do this for other animals?
Yeah, we're going to be talking to the, no, please let's not have pets actually talking. I don't want to know what the cats are saying. Anyway. So researchers said that they've developed an AI system that could understand the emotional state of chickens. The article's over at businessinsider.com. Beatrice Nolan is the author. There's all these chickens. You know what they say about chickens? That they're jerks. They're real peckers. The study's not been peer reviewed, and the researchers acknowledge limitations to their methods, like having zero ability. It's not like there's a Rosetta Stone of clucks for them to translate it, and AI there's no way.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, what is it basing it on?
Yeah. Just because it's sitting there pecking at the dirt and clucking doesn't mean that when it clucks, it's like, hey, this dirt is really yummy. You know? We're anthropomorphizing chickens to give it language. They understand their own, whatever, smell, actions. The fact that when they run over and one pecks the other one in the head, the other one doesn't sit there and go, oh, you want a cheeseburger? No, they're like, ow, I'm going to go somewhere else, because that's nature. It's not conversation.
I wonder if they're like other animals. Like, do they cluck so that they're communicating with each other, or
like cats?
It reminds me of the pets.
Yeah, that cats actually meow because of humans, not because of themselves. So the study found that the system was capable of translating various emotional states in chickens, including hunger, fear, anger, contentment, excitement, and distress. They measured distress by grabbing them and
no, that's not okay.
Saying, let me introduce you to Kentucky Fried Chicken. If we know what animals are feeling, we can design a much better world for them. Chiok told the New York Post. Chiok did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment made outside working hours, but the researchers tested the system on 80 chickens for the study and collaborated with a team of animal psychologists and veterinarians. The system was able to achieve surprisingly high accuracy in identifying the bird's emotional states.
I just don't know what they're comparing it against. That's what I'm not following here.
Yeah, I mean, are they grabbing a chicken and giving it some seed and interpreting that dance as being elated? And then they're grabbing that same chicken and throwing it into a KFC processing center and measuring it as distressed? Come on. All right. Well, anyway, in 2022, researchers led by the University of Copenhagen and the ETH Zurich and France's National Research Institute for Agriculture, Food, and Environment said that they'd created an algorithm to help understand the emotion of pigs. I think we did a talk about that too.
Yeah, I think we did too.
Yeah. Pigs are pretty contented as long as you just leave them alone. I know I am. Let's keep going. Next article is over in the Warcrafters channel. OpenAI's new DALL-E 3 AI image generator now has some, what do you call them? The gates. Is that what it would? What's on the side of like a toddler bed? The crib.
Gates.
The crib.
Rails.
Rails. No, that's not it. Man, I don't know. So there's some guardrails up. We'll just call them guardrails. That's kind of the more accepted term for it. But basically, DALL-E 3 is penned in to prevent people from saying, hey, I want it to look like this living artist. So DALL-E 3 has one main advantage over older versions of the AI image generator. OpenAI says that it's a leap forward in understanding what a user wants from the language used in their prompt, and it will generate more accurate depictions from user prompts, and it has guardrails now to prevent using a term that would trigger art creation based on a living artist's name. Now, you can go ham on Midjourney with that, and it will create what amounts to knockoff versions of in the style of that artist. Me, I don't really have a problem with it. The only reason why I say that is because stylistically, there could be thousands of people out there that do something stylistically similar. And it's really frustrating that somebody can get a lock on it simply because they have met the conditions of going viral and marketing and whatnot. But, I just don't accept that a particular artist is imminently identified by their artwork and that nobody else has ever done anything similar. It's insanity to assume that. And there are people that do something near it. So it's that artist adjacent because they appreciate that
artwork. It's like
artwork.
the Andy Warhol thing. Yeah. With the photographs.
Yeah. And that's actually ended up in lawsuits. So very frustrating. So, and it kind of forces an artist to maybe change the very character of their artwork because that they are passionate about simply because somebody has laid claim to the dress of their art. Well, anyway, OpenAI's new DALL-E 3 AI image generator isn't allowed to copy a living artist's style by name. Jacob Ridley is the author over at PCGamer.com. Artists can also opt out of having their work used for training future AI models. So what's going to end up in DALL-E 3's image generation is going to be something less than the holistic.
Bit less,
I'm sorry?
I said quite a bit less. Don't you think everybody's going to opt out?
I don't know. OpenAI says that existing systems have a tendency to ignore words or descriptions, forcing users to learn prompt engineering. DALL-E 3, it says, doesn't require this sort of engineering, making it more user-friendly. It also claims that, given the same prompt, DALL-E 3 will produce much better results than DALL-E 2, which I think is an iterative step, making something better. But crafting what amounts to a script that constructs art based off of what you said and not just pure randomness, maybe contextualized randomness, but still randomness, that the AI is making the absolute choice from end to end, and all I'm doing is mashing a certain word in, and that's it. But if I construct an entire context for the AI, then I'm the artist. The paintbrush is the AI. That should allow me to have a copyright on it. And I will probably go to my deathbed fighting for that particular right. I'm the artist. I'm using AI as the paintbrush. Well, when you start limiting what is being ingested, it's akin to limiting me as the artist. Now, what? I'm not allowed to look at somebody's artwork and be inspired by it and then paint something, even if it's eerily similar. The difference is I still painted it, I still constructed it, and I'm not labeling it as that artist's work. It's still my work. I don't know. I hate this pathway that we're going down. That all you have to do is become famous enough, and your artwork, your style, which
anybody could pick up a paintbrush and do a similar style, and that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. It happens all the time. Anyway. And I know from experience, there are brilliant artists out there that just aren't getting traction because they don't have some random connection, or they don't have the ability to take advantage of somebody discovering them on Tuesday. They're out there, but suddenly they can't do anything. Anyway, I still really like this idea. I don't really use Dolly, but Midjourney is a lot of fun. And I only use Midjourney lately. I only use Midjourney for the thumbnails over on YouTube. I actually just throw the title of the show into Midjourney and it generates something. And then I usually accept that. But anyway, let's keep on going. I think this will be a fun series. We're going to be, or I should say Merwat is going to keep on watching AI. I'm actually actively in the process of spinning up a show that is focusing on artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, called Reality Hacker, and going from there. Well, that's probably one of the shows. It is one of the shows that I'm going to be spinning up after ohmTown Daily, but it's once a week. So it basically will congeal a week's worth of information into that one show. Okay, let's keep on going. This next article is over in Technology Today. Everything Microsoft announced at its Surface and AI event. I'll make this really quick. Right there is the link. I'm actually a few articles down. So here, let me back up. There's a link. Oh boy, I fell off the track. I was doing so good. Anyway, it was Microsoft's turn to step up to the plate and hold a fall hardware event on Thursday, although Surface devices were the same, or the name of the game, sorry. There was a heavy, and the author here says, heavy focus on AI. Let's go over to Engadget. Engadget.com, Chris Holt is the author. The deck statement says, along with a heap of Copilot updates, the company revealed 2 new consumer laptops. The only thing that I think of when I think of Microsoft now is like constantly evolving names for products, constantly evolving services. Not necessarily better, but getting bigger and fatter and like bloated kind of software. And I don't think of laptops when I think of Microsoft, because
You're right.
everybody,
You think of PCs, right?
well,
Or software.
just the software, and then, well, PCs in general, because everybody is buying Microsoft Windows.
Right.
And I've had several Surface devices, but I think of Dell more than anything. So
I guess they're doing better marketing.
yeah, yeah. And frankly, nowadays I'm actually more interested on the Mac side, the Apple side, for like MacBooks and stuff. So at any rate, Microsoft spent most of the evening talking about AI and Copilot. In fact, the hardware almost seemed like an afterthought. That's how I feel about it. I basically just summarized that statement. The company is unifying the Copilot AI assistant across its suite of products. Copilot will be available more broadly as part of Windows 11 update, which will arrive in September, specifically September 26th, according to the article. I really don't want AI always on, sitting on my devices. By the way, the only one that you can actually strip really down to its bones, right out of the gate, is the academic version, the educational institution version of Windows. Otherwise, it's sending hundreds of data points. The last report that I saw was over 400 data points of telemetry on the regular are being sent out to Microsoft. So warm up your firewall and start blocking every port except for the ones that you want for the known transmission.
That seems like a bit much. I mean, that seems more than like an online search or something. I mean,
yeah, it is a lot. And I actually have one account set up where it's monitoring the use of the software because I wanted to see all of what it does. And so I know exactly the runtime of individual pieces of software on one of the computers, and I think it's creepy as hell. So enterprise users will need to wait a little longer to make use of Copilot in Microsoft 365. I believe it's just called 365 now. I guess it's branded as Microsoft 365, but it used to be Microsoft Office 365, and they got rid of the Office part of it.
I mean, that was too wordy. They were doing the FedEx maneuver.
Yep. It'll generally be available starting in November 1st for $30 a month per user. So that's not going to happen in a lot of places. Microsoft says Copilot can summarize meetings and prioritize tasks based on what's in your inbox. I hate so much of this because there are busybodies that will utilize this information to micromanage employees instead of giving them the leeway to think on their own. It's so dystopian that basically Microsoft is just injecting itself into everything. I despise it. Anyway, Surface Laptop Go was announced. The Surface Laptop Studio 2 was announced. And I guess another article that they talk about on this page is that Microsoft wants its Copilot AI to be your personal shopper. I don't know.
I mean, don't these major companies have every piece of data about everything?
Oh, yeah. Doctor says you're going to have to go get a colonoscopy. And so I emailed Microsoft support and they said, nah, you're fine. Because they already had all of the data.
Right, that's true. They probably have more data than your doctors at this point.
All right, let's go on to the last show. I need to prepare the AI. The AI is a sentient AI, and so they have thoughts and feelings, emotions. And I need to prepare it because the next article is all about, well, it's preparation for getting in the spooky mood. So the next article is about horror movies. So prepare thyself. What is it? Hold on to your butts because this might be scary. Okay.
So should we do an alert depending on who's viewing?
Yeah. 10 times horror movies with the exact same premise released in the same year and which one won. I picked 9 out of the 10 on this because I went through it real quick because I wanted to know the extent, and some of the screenshots might be a little off-putting, but you know what? We're coming up on Halloween. It may be a month away, but I want to get in the mood. I want to know, what's spooky and have some fun this year. So all
don't
right,
mind
folks.
the AI if they're screaming.
Yeah, I'll just make sure that your camera and microphone are turned off so that you can't interact with the world. You can just hang out in ohmTown. How about that? Oh, now the AI is sad. Doggone it. I can't win. So when two similar horror movies go head to head with each other upon release, one always wins the day. I've always found it really weird that a movie comes out and then suddenly another movie that's almost identical, A Bug's Life and what's the other one?
Ants,
yeah.
And they come out so fast. It's not like it was filmed after the other one was released.
Yeah, it's weird, right? All of a sudden there's like two of the exact same movie. Anyway, it says here 1998's apocalyptic asteroid Double Bill Armageddon and Deep Impact prove as much. This happens in every category despite how unlikely it may seem. Something goes down and there's two versions. I don't know what it is, but I've never really looked into it. So maybe it's because there's a market for scripts and maybe...
And they're seeking the same, not the same genre, but the same theme or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it might be. I just don't know why two of them would release at the exact same time. So let's do this. Let's go over... Oh, before I do that, let me throw our last article into the chat. There you go. And here we go. So this is over at Screen Rant. I don't know how to pronounce their first name. Cathal Gunning. Wrote this article for Screen Rant. Sometimes two horror movies explore the same premise and are released in the same time or at the same time. Both might be great or terrible, but there's only one winner. So they have a summary about Piranha, An American Werewolf in London, Lost Boys, but I'm going to jump on down to the top 10. We won't read the article. You can follow the link and go and read the article. But let's summarize real quick. Barracuda and Piranha. I picked this one correctly. It was Piranha. Basically, this became like there were stories about Piranha and then movies popped up. It was really weird. And I remember being young going, oh my God. But I've subsequently found out that they're not like that, but I guess they can be at times. Every once in a while, there's like a feeding frenzy. But I might be mixing all kinds of stuff up because the last time I heard anything about Piranha was probably when I read a mod on Minecraft recently. But prior to that, 15, 20 years ago, not to age myself, but I'm aging myself.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hear about Piranha very often.
That's true. So American Werewolf in London and The Howling. I can tell you that American Werewolf in London essentially went viral for the time, 1980. The Howling was still good. Everybody liked The Howling. There were a couple of key people in The Howling that made it popular. You watched it for the plot. Then Lost Boys and Near Dark. The Lost Boys crushed it. If anybody remembers Near Dark, I would be surprised. You'd have to be a fan of horror movies from the 80s for you to even remember Near Dark. But the Lost Boys had a cast that just grabbed everybody's attention. Let's see. Mikey and the Good Son. The Good Son. I don't even remember Mikey. I'm sure that I've seen it because I've always been interested in the horror genre. But the Good Son actually grabbed everybody's attention. So Mikey and the Good Son were 1993 movies centered on the angelic blonde children who were secretly vicious killers. The Good Son got better reviews and is more fondly remembered, while the psychological thriller also boasted an impressive cast in the form of Elijah Wood, Rory Culkin, and Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin playing as the villain. So the Good Son. So number 6 is The Haunting and House on Haunted Hill. I picked House on Haunted Hill. But both of them are actually pretty good. It says The Haunting was critically abhorred, while House on Haunted Hill was written off as campy, but solid fun since the reboot didn't take itself too seriously. I actually liked both of them, but House on Haunted Hill is the one that got everybody's attention. Then Descent in the Cave. It was The Descent. I didn't watch either of these, but I did know about The Descent being the winner of everybody's hearts and minds. Then Rogue and Blackwater. Blackwater was the winner. That was in 2007, but Blackwater keeps crocodile horror movies. Rogue and Blackwater. So
I didn't even know that was a genre or subgenre.
Yep. Then Paranormal Activity and The Fourth Kind. Paranormal Activity was basically like this breakout hit where it was found footage. The Fourth Kind I also watched, but I like all of this kind of stuff. So again, I like them both. The former was a massive franchise spawning mega hit, while the latter was swiftly forgotten by everyone except a small dedicated fan base. And that's pretty much what I would have summarized this as. Then number 2 is Detention and Cabin in the Woods. Nobody knows about Detention. So Cabin in the Woods got everybody's attention in 2012. Cabin in the Woods was a much bigger mainstream hit, earning $70 million on a budget of $30 million, according to the numbers, which we might want to start paying attention to. Detention had the misfortune of arriving in cinemas the same day that Cabin in the Woods, effectively annihilating Surreal Indie's chances of crossover success. So they launched at the exact same day and time. So how does that even happen? I don't know. And then the very last one, the number 1 on the list, which I don't know why it's number 1. I didn't see either of these. Burying the Ex or Life After Beth. Dark 2014 horror comedies about likable young men whose lives were thrown into disarray when their seemingly dead girlfriends returned to life as zombies. I just don't know what to say. Anyway,
that pretty much sums it up, right?
If you are interested in horror movies, there you go. You got 20 movies that you can go noodling around with and prepare for the month of horror. Halloween is right around the corner, and you can plan your October. But you know what? I'm more interested in Oktoberfest than horror movies nowadays. So I want to watch some horror movies this October, and kind of not go do Oktoberfest stuff. All month, Oktoberfest is going to be fun, but I want to get scared this Halloween. And some of the streamers.
You said you were more into Oktoberfest than horror movies.
Normally, I'm more into Oktoberfest than horror movies, but this Halloween, this October, I want to kind of embrace Halloween a bit. There is a huge yard ornament. Is that what they call them? I don't know. It's 25 feet tall or something. A decoration, yeah, yard decoration of a skeleton ghoul kind of a thing, and I want to put that in the front yard, the mansion that is ohmTown's mayoral mansion. But I don't know if that's good for business.
It might be a bit off-putting.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be shaking hands and kissing babies, right? I can't do that if everybody's just too scared to...
Terrified.
That's right. Anyway, that's it, folks. We are done for today. I bring everybody back, I guess in this case, kicking and screaming, because it's the last article was horror. Back to the front page, the main street of ohmTown. We mash the welcome sign and get a whole bunch of new articles. If you've been paying attention to, I saw it on Reddit. I don't normally cruise Reddit, but this popped up on my radar that Cisco bought Splunk, and somebody apparently made some trades that turned a $22,000 investment into $10 million. So I suspect that the SEC is going to be knocking on somebody's door.
Very interested in that transaction.
Yeah.
Or series of transactions.
So it says stocks are tanking today. What's happening? If you're interested in that kind of stuff, go over to ohmTown. There's always something that you'll find interesting. And then come back and talk to Mayor Watt and the sentient AI that only goes by AI as a name. At least so far. They haven't determined if they want to be known as anything other than AI. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. At any rate, we're done for the night. We'll see you tomorrow. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com. And up there is the AI that's going to say bye and maybe a few other things.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.